Today, I'm delighted to welcome Hayden Wilde to the World Triathlon podcast. The 24-year-old New Zealand team member burst onto the elite circuit in 2018 and hasn't looked back, racking up some brilliant top 10 finishes in 2019 across World Series, World Cup, and notably the Tokyo Test event, starting last season strongly in Mooloolaba before the wheels came off 2020. So, welcome, Hayden. Great to have you on.
Oh, mate, it's an absolute pleasure to be here. It's good to see your face as well. It's nearly been a year.
Yeah, I know. Like when you get ahead of steam up, you can get your talk on as well. So,
100%.
Have you got some snacks there to keep us going, just in case?
Yeah, mate. We've actually got my berry tea ready to go, and I'm racing tomorrow, so I just had a delightful pizza. So we're all filled up, ready to go for a good yarn.
Nice. Pizza like a regular part of your pre-race prep, is it?
I think in New Zealand it is, because you just know all the ingredients here and there, so we just make our own, which is nice. So it's pretty. I don't even know if you can call it a pizza, because it's literally just like a pizza base with literally like everything I like on it. So then it comes like just something you can kind of eat all at once.
Excellent. You're not a ham and pineapple man, then? Please tell me you're not having chicken on there.
No, I didn't have chicken. I had salmon on it, but I did have pineapple.
There's no place for chicken on pizza. So yeah, you're in Christchurch. Have you been like in Christchurch for the majority of this period, like 2020 lockdown?
Oh, so I'm not in Christchurch actually.
Right.
So I'm based in Tauranga. So that's on the east coast. So I'm originally from a little place called Whakatane, but I moved from there about 3 years. So when I started triathlon, so about 4 or 5 years ago, literally 45 minutes up the road to the big city, and just based myself there. So it's a nice kind of beach, kind of very similar to Mooloolaba, very beachy and cruisy, and just nice vibes.
Lovely. Have you been getting a bit of cabin fever though over the last sort of 12 months or so?
Yeah, I guess it's quite weird. Like, if you didn't watch the news at all, or keep in tabs with anything, you wouldn't even know COVID-19 existed in the world over here in New Zealand. It's quite a different place, I think. We're very lucky and fortunate, so we get to do kind of what we want, really, with not many worries. We've got some obviously things in place, where we, have like a COVID tracing app where we go into stores and we've got a QR code that we've got to scan into, and your standard hand sanitizer here and there is kind of becoming like the new thing. But no face masks. There's no kind of, you can shake hands, you can hug people, you can, give them, kiss greetings and whatnot, and all the above. Very
so
fortunate.
Apart from sort of international travel, it's kind of business as normal then, basically there.
Yeah, like there's actually racing tomorrow. As in the 3,000 meter national champs. I've already had 4 or 5 kind of domestic triathlon races. So it's pretty much normal. But it's actually quite good, because they've got all the New Zealand-based athletes here, which make the field still as strong as an international field, which is real good. So it keeps everyone on each other's toes, which is nice.
Yeah, but also must make it feel even more surreal, like what's going on everywhere in a way, does it?
Yeah, it does. Like, I'm actually quite fortunate that I got my partner, Hannah de Vet, who's actually in Team Belgium.
Yeah.
So we actually got her over here. So she kind of went through the 2-week quarantine in one of the hotels, and then was COVID free. So she got to get out of the hotel after 2 weeks, and now she's based here for the summertime, which is real cool. Just kind of, it was quite funny when she first kind of got out of the hotel isolation. She was quite like, it was quite funny when we went into town, very like avoided shaking hands or didn't know what to do, and it was quite funny to see like someone that's been with COVID, for a good 6-7 months of the year, when she was racing in Europe, and then coming to New Zealand, where it's kind of like its own little bubble. It was quite different for her. She's gotten used to it now, but it was quite funny the first week. She didn't really know what to expect.
Integrating back into the norms of society a bit.
Oh, 100%. She had no clue what she was doing. It was hilarious.
She didn't try and introduce, like, obviously here we've had this thing like on Thursday nights where loads of people, you'll go outside and sort of clap for the NHS, for the hospital workers and stuff. So if you sort of time a run well here, you can kind of run down the street and it feels like you're going down the blue carpet, everyone clapping. It's kind of, I mean, a very polite
That's the way to
blue
do it,
carpet.
Just get some motivation from everyone, but they think you're clapping for you, but not really clapping for you at the same time. It's great, though. It's great motivation.
So what's the race tomorrow, sorry?
So racing the New Zealand 3,000 meter national champs. So that should be it should be good fun. It's actually even better because there's so many New Zealand domestic running athletes here as well at the moment, and it's like we've got guys running. I can name 10 guys in my hand at the moment that can run sub 4 minute miles and run under 13 under 14, 13 minutes for 5K, like just in a training run. So it's really good just to have like all these guys like in their speciality sport coming home from the United States, because that's where they normally do the NCAA, to have them, push us as triathletes as well. And we're competing with last week I raced in the New Zealand National Open Water Swim race, which was cool, and got absolutely handed to by some 12-year-olds and some 10-year-olds that just swim like fish. So I think it's the only sport that you can get absolutely walloped by kids about 10 times younger than you. But it keeps you honest, and it's really good to race pure Pacific athletes in their chosen sports, and because it just pushes us as triathletes, if we're not getting as much competition, because there's only about 4 or 5 of us at the top end in New Zealand at the moment, so it's quite nice to go over to running or swimming and biking and just get absolutely walloped and get a good workout out of it. So no, it works pretty well.
Yeah. So were you copying any of these sort of 12-year-olds techniques and thinking, hang on, what's this new style that you're working with here?
Oh, I tell you, I think you just kind of lose it when they've just got that swimming pool speed. So like first 100 meters, they're just going absolutely gun blazing. Then you just miss the pack, and it's like, oh my gosh, 4.9K to go by myself here. Jeez.
The 3,000 meter national champs has never been so competitive. Probably, like, there must be a lot of local amateur runners that are a bit cheesed off that all these people are coming back and kind of taking away their opportunity.
Yeah, like honestly, like if the weather's good, there could be comfortably 6 guys going under 8 minutes for the 3,000. The pace is being set to 7:40, 7:45, and as I said, there's 5-6 guys that can do that. We've got guys running 1,500 meters at 3:36, 3:37, close to Olympic qualifying times here in New Zealand at the moment. So yeah, like it's quite good that such a small country can provide so much talent in a variety of sports, which is as I said, it pushes us hugely. Yeah. We might not be at the top end, but it pushes us to be more competitive, because we've obviously the whole year we've missed out on that international racing, getting pushed by the world's best on the ITU circuit. So it's always nice to kind of see where you're at and gauge how everything's going racing Pacific athletes in their chosen sports. So it's quite good to have that here.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't for a minute suspect that you were the kind of person that would be sort of wallowing last year in not being able to sort of do the international races, but at the same time, I mean, it must have been a really difficult thing to know that was happening and not be able to take part.
Yeah, it was pretty gutting, and it was nothing we could do. Like, I know all the New Zealanders wanted to get over and race some of the World Cups and the WCS races, but unfortunately, we're a government-funded sport, and we've got to abide by the government rules, and that's the thing. Like, if we go against the government and head overseas and race these races, we potentially could get our funding cut, which is our livelihood, so we can actually go over and race. So we had to do the right thing and the safe thing, and do what was right for the sport in New Zealand, and unfortunately stay home. But it was fantastic to watch, to see some people come through that we haven't seen before. racing on the ITU circuit, and kind of, I think in a sense as well, it kind of, back home, it really kind of gave me a bit of an extra drive to just not slack off and really push hard, because it just looked, everyone did, worked on little things through lockdown, and really pushed me, I think, as an individual to really kind of, work on my weaknesses, which I've been doing a lot of swimming lately, and really working on that so I can kind of prepare myself for the getting back onto the World Series. And yeah, I'll honestly really look forward to actually, hopefully, getting into some racing this year. It's good. I feel that I'm in some good form. I just trying to find a race to see how that form is actually going. But yeah, I guess training is so different to racing. You can be as fit, the fittest you've ever been, but race fitness is so different to training fitness. I can be training like an absolute animal and doing some great times and stuff. But yeah, as I said, like, it's nothing compared to race fitness. It's a different thing. It's a different beast.
Totally. And it was interesting, yeah, everybody kind of hitting those early start lines, well, not early, in the end last year, and the first one's back, and not having a clue where they were in terms of race fitness. And were you watching kind of quite closely and sort of analysing what was going on and seeing, I mean, obviously, like, Vincent Louise's swims were just suddenly like absolutely incredible, and he was just spearheading from the front the whole way in those first couple of races. You had Vasco Villasa coming through with some brilliant efforts as well.
Yeah, it was. Well, I got to be honest. I actually didn't stay up to watch any of the races, except for probably the women's races, because Hannah was racing. So I was like, oh, better be a good boyfriend and get up at 1 o'clock in the morning and watch a race.
Right.
So I watched the women's race in Hamburg and a couple others, but made sure I pre-recorded the men's race so I could watch it when I wake up in the morning, because I think it was like 2-3 o'clock in the morning for us in New Zealand. So I was like, oh, I'll just record it and then watch in the morning if I go on the bike for a Zwift session or something. So it was good to see, like, for me, it was great to see Vincent win the world champs again. He was 2019 2019 world champ, and it was good to see him take 2020 out. And same with the women's race. It was real good to see all the top girls still in fighting form, and it was kind of like business as usual. Just obviously with some key people in key countries missing, but racing's racing. It was great to see that. World Triathlon was actually putting on races where other sports couldn't. So it was real good to see that we have found good protocol and to do it in a safe way, so to speak, too. So that's why it's kind of given me that confidence that I think racing will definitely be on this year. I don't know when it will be, but I feel that if it's when it is, it'll be done quite safely. And look forward to kind of actually seeing the people that I used to race for the last couple of years, to see them in person and catch up fully, instead of just over Snapchat or Instagram or WhatsApp. So it'll be good to get back to some normality overseas.
Yeah. So you've been able to sort of hit the start of this new year with kind of optimism then, and obviously, like, there's a lot of talk about Tokyo and whether it's still going to happen at the moment and so on. Where do you sort of stand on that whole situation? I suppose at least the Olympics comes in the middle of a season anyway, at a time where you would want to be hitting peak form, obviously ideally for lining up at the Olympics, but if not, there's world champs, there's loads of WTS then as well.
Yeah, 100%. Hey, like, I think I'm in a very good position where I'm still extremely young. I potentially still got another 2 Olympic campaigns to run for. So for me, it's great. But for guys that have at the kind of the defined end of the straw of their career, it's kind of extremely gutting for them if the games don't go ahead. And for me, like, it's, I guess I got into the sport 3 and a bit years ago. So for me, I kind of looked at it, well, this is 2020 was actually a good opportunity for me where I kind of get that 4-year cycle. So it's actually kind of given me that extra year to have that 4-year Olympic cycle where, if it was in 2020, I would only had that 3-year prep because I've only been in the sport for 3 years. So it was quite cool to have a 4th year, I guess. and train for that. And that kind of kept me motivated. And I guess, entering the sport so newly, I guess I haven't lost the fight for it or the love for it at all. I'm still kind of growing as an athlete and as a person in triathlon. So yeah, for that, I think I'm very lucky that I'm so young in the sport and with age as well. But yeah, as you said, if the Olympics don't go ahead, hopefully world champs will still be around. There's still some good racing to go ahead with World Cups and WTSs as well. So I'm pretty sure that if something doesn't go ahead, I'm pretty sure we can find something in the near future to keep motivated for sure.
Yeah. And so, going back to that, you'll start out with World Triathlon, and I mean, like I mentioned, 2018 was your kind of punch through year. 2019, the real breakthrough year, as it were.
Yeah.
Like to have put together that level of consistency, and that level of racing with that consistency, it must have been like incredibly satisfying, and the confidence boost for someone so kind of, I mean, in many ways, coming late to the sport compared to a lot of those around you, right?
Yeah, I guess, coming from that exterior background, I had some sort of I guess idea of triathlon, but never at an elite level, or my swimming was below par. Was shocking, and the only thing that kind of got me through the race was the ride and run. But yeah, switching to on-road triathlon and seeing the progression, when I first started my ITU kind of campaign, I sat down with a few people and they're like, it's going to take you 7 years to get to where I am now, it's only taken me 3 years. So I love to kind of prove people wrong in a sense. So that was pretty cool that I could do it in a couple, 2 or 3 years of just hard work. But I think also that what helped me, I guess, improve so quick as well was just knowing my coaches, having my coaches side by side for 3 years, not switching coaches. So, my body, the body just loves routine. So it was getting used to their kind of workouts consistently for the last 3 years, 4 years even, when I first kind of started out training. And then, being injury free, consistency is so key. Like you can, I think consistency is a huge thing. You can do like a 30, 40-hour week and absolutely cook yourself. But, if you keep between 20 to 25 hours, which I've done for the last, 3 years, and keep it consistent without, any injuries or too many niggles, you can improve so fast. And I think that's what's been, I think the big step for me has been that consistency. So, yeah, looking at the rate of improvement from, starting pretty average to then, that 2018, getting a podium on my first ever Europe race was in Cagliari, the World Cup there, and then 2019 having a couple of good podiums, and then 2020 was looking pretty good, starting really strong off, Mooloolaba, even having a crash the day before, so not really being 100% and still getting second there. I know there was a lot of potential for that year, but obviously got cut pretty short and had to go home and reassess. But yeah, it was really satisfying to see that 2019 wasn't a fluke, and heading into that 2020 season, starting strong in Mooloolaba. And yeah, hopefully this year in 2021 we can I can get to some racing. And I think that for me, it's just to prove something to myself that it wasn't 2019 wasn't a fluke. There's been a lot of athletes that have had one good year and not really proven themselves after that. I'd love to be an athlete that's just like consistent every year, in and out. That's what I kind of aim for, and I think it's sort of mental in the mental game I am. I just love just going hard and just getting the best out of me in every single race and not holding back really.
Yeah. That 2018 Cagliari course was still with the big hill, right? So that kind of you had a good battle against Delian and the Italian guys. But that
it was great.
That is a type of course that suits your riding, right? You're like you like the red line riding, keeping it up there, and obviously that was a good place to get that first podium.
Yeah, it was unexpected, that was my first ever time to Europe. Didn't know what to expect at all. You all you see is kind of stuff on on the old TV or stuff and whatnot. So it was quite a surreal experience, flying my first time into Rome, and then 3 days later traveling over to Cagliari. And I'll tell you, I was pretty jet lagged for my first. It was the longest flight I've ever done in my life by about, probably about 30 hours, because I think the furthest I've ever traveled was the Gold Coast in Australia for like a family holiday. So
Right.
yeah, going over there was pretty unsurreal. I had no clue what to expect, and kind of to see the body kind of react real well and enjoy a course like that. Suited my mountain bike, for my mountain biking background, suited my skills, for that big uphill, and then just like continuously on the red line and running up that hill as well. Just kind of, I guess my background running was also mountain running too, so really enjoyed going up and down that course. But still didn't really have a sprint finish and got picked by one of the Italians. So, and everyone knows the Italians race extremely well on home turf, and they raced really well that day. So it was pretty cool to be around them.
Yeah, for sure. And then it was on to Antwerp, which wasn't quite like over two races. You haven't quite had such fond memories of there, like the cobbles and.
Man, it was like the only. I was like, it's actually I guess it's Hunter's, my partner's home course. She's just in Weasel, so it's only like 20 minutes out. So, I've just never had any luck on that course. Like the first year I went there in Antwerp was my battery fell out of my derailleur, so had no shifting. I think my average cadence was like 130 for that race, and pretty much was like just spinning as hard as I could, and then aero tucking into like a group and spinning as hard as I could. And then you hit the cobbles, and with cobbles, you want to have like a low cadence, so you just power through it. But having like 130, 20 cadence, you're just like going everywhere on the cobbles. And then 2019, I got a puncher. It was like my first time I was kind of ranked number one. So like, well, that's pretty awesome. And then got a punch. I was like, oh no. So I was like, surely third time lucky in 2020, and then couldn't even get there.
Yeah, so not too sad to see the back of that one off the World Cup circuit. Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of talk about how modern triathlon is now coming down. It's all boiling down to the run and so on. But you're someone whose bike skills have clearly shown that can make that can really be the making of the race as well. If you look at Lausanne, the mixed relay, that bike that you put in, you could see you were sort of picking your moment as to when to attack and sort of toying with the field a little bit and so on. So, I suppose just talk us through like how you approach those bikes and what your kind of mental situation is there.
Yeah, like I think the bike has helped me in a lot of races, especially kind of given me a lot of confidence. There's a few that I can name where it was actually my first. Well, it was actually my second time Mooloolaba, because the first time I had to DNF. I didn't start the race because I literally turned up to Mooloolaba and I was just like I was bedridden for a week, so I couldn't. I got over to Mooloolaba, but I didn't get to the start line. But the year after, I was actually in a breakaway, and it was myself, a couple ollies and Tyler Misterchuk, and we got to the top of the Mooloolaba hill, and I just looked at it, and the other boys were like, oh, there's no point in kind of breaking away. So I was like, oh, bugger it, I'll just carry on. So then I carried on, and I remember that was my first time I kind of got a breakaway and got about a 25-second lead. But I cooked myself quite a bit, but I was pretty awesome. Like just a young fella off the front, having no clue, no expectations. No one kind of knew you. Going off the front and, getting a 20-second gap was, and it got me the 3% that I needed to get into a World Series race. So, that was just one of the stepping stones that got me up to the World Series was, it was getting, with the New Zealand criteria, you must get a 3% in a World Cup to the winner. And, I think I was about, 15 seconds off the winner, which was cool. And so, got to step up from there as well. And, same thing actually happened in 2019 as well, when we did in Edmonton, and it was the mixed team relay, and was just really aggressive on the bike, and got a breakaway with another rider, and that's the year that we did quite well as a team and got on the podium for the first time, which was pretty awesome. And also in Abu Dhabi in the mixed team relay, we were about sixth place, and I put a huge shift on the bike and bridged a 40-second gap up to the Leo Bouget and I think it was Jonas Schomburg and I think of the Italian team as well. And just had to put my head down and that helped me hugely. That got us a third place, that bike shift as well. So, as you said, the run's not the be all end all. I think if you've got a real strong ride, it's the rides helped me hugely in situations where I've come out of the swim in a horrific position. And I think it was my first ever time actually in Hamburg WTS. It was my first WTS ever, and got to the start of the race, and I think I had a shocking swim. I came out nearly dead last, but I bridged the gap in about 20 seconds, and that gap was about 15-20 seconds away. So really had to push hard to get onto that group. But if I didn't have that ride, I would have been well and truly out of the race. So I think the ride is a huge asset that has helped me, I guess, progress as an athlete. And so I think that's it's not just the run that's helped me a lot, but I think you come off if you're a good rider and it's an easy ride, and it's harder for others, you got to have fresher legs than others onto the run. So I think that's a huge asset. But I'd like to kind of make a swim my asset as well, so I don't have to waste a lot of energy on the bike to try and catch up.
But I mean, talk us through that sort of the mindset where you've come out of the water through transition. You've got to make that, you've got to bridge that gap. Vasco was talking about it in, I think it was Hamburg or maybe Karlovy, maybe both, and he said like he just absolutely ruined himself, and I think he was like sick down himself or something just to bridge that gap. But obviously, had he not done that, there was absolutely no way he would have got the second place. So, just what are you going through? What's going through your mind as you've got to put that effort in and ultimately not even know if it's going to be successful, right?
Yeah, like I think I go into every race at 100%. Like I don't want to wait for a group or anything. Like if the opportunity's there and I feel that myself I can bridge that gap, I will go for it, no matter what. But I think it's got a lot to do with, I guess, for me personally, where I've kind of come from. I've had to start kind of from the bottom and work my way up. I never came through any kind of system at all. I just kind of changed my mind and wanted to go to triathlon and had to work really hard for it. And I knew going over to Europe or going to any race, I knew I had a lot of backing, even domestically. A lot of people kind of, put a lot of effort into me, and I didn't want to turn up into a race and say, "Oh, I'm 30 seconds back. What's the point in chasing this? Like, I'm out of the race." I kind of, look at the people that have helped me from the first stepping stone, and was like, kind of feel like if I don't try hard enough in every single race, I've kind of let my whole team down. So I feel, as myself, triathlon is not just an individual sport. It's it's the team that's kind of behind you, and I think that's what drives me hugely is the team behind me. I know I've come into a lot of races, and you see guys that kind of just like sit back and relax and say, "Oh, we'll just maybe it might happen for me. Might happen for me in the other race or the next race or all this." But for me, it's like, well, every race is kind of like a huge race for me, because I know I've got in there with my quite a lot of my own funding, and I get a lot of help from Triathlon New Zealand, but most the World Cups is our own funding, and we get there from our our own pocket and stuff. So it's every kind of lineup is like, wow, you don't want to think as triathlon is making money. It's your sport and you love it, but you've got to make a living, and that's how I kind of see it. You just got to go 100% the whole time. And that's when you kind of make a name for yourself, and you can go to more races. And I guess that's why you see me on the start line a lot, because I just love racing and love giving it 100%. Because I guess if you don't, you train so many hours and you put yourself in the box so many times, and then you go to a race and you just don't put everything into it, what was all the training for? So I feel like, you've put yourself into some deep, dark spots in training. So you might as well just use that deep, dark spot and do it in racing as well. And try and get everything out of you in every single race. So yeah, I guess for me, that's kind of, how I kind of look at bridging the gap as well as just the people backing me and help, that have helped me along. And I know they're all watching at home at 2:00 and 3:00 in the morning. So, there's at least some way I can kind of give them a show and make their heart stop for a bit, saying, "Oh, he's had another crapper of a swim. Hopefully, he gets back into the race." And then somehow I get back into the race, and I know a couple of times when the coach or mum kind of messaged me on Facebook, they're like, "Oh, geez, you're a bit behind there," and I was like, "Oh yeah, just gotta keep the heart rate up for you."
Give you something to think about, yeah.
Exactly.
But that must also be what feeds into the way that you guys race as the Team New Zealand mixed relay, like knowing that everyone among you is going at it with that same mentality, right? Like that is obviously half the reason why you guys look like you're enjoying it so much, and the fact that you won in Lausanne.
Yeah, 100%. Like I think if you're from New Zealand as a triathlete, you just love the sport. Like it used to be, when Bevan Doherty and Hamish Carter era was here, was huge. It was huge sport here, but it's slowly kind of like, I guess, distanced away from the people. But now it's kind of, it's coming back. Everyone's really enjoying it. I think this weekend's the Tauranga Half Ironman. It's one of my first races where I raced, Cam Brown. He was on the ITU circuit once upon a time, and all those guys, Teresa Bizzoni as well. And, all those guys are racing this year. It's, fully sold out. And, 70.3 world champs was meant to be here last year, but, it's back here in a couple of years, which is cool. And, it's good to see the sport coming back. And I think New Zealand being such a, known for their sport. And I think, we just love sport and we just love triathlon, I guess. It's a sport that's you can go, to many places, and you can use it for the outdoors as well. Because, as I said, New Zealand's such a sporting outdoors kind of nation. We can it's great to get on your bike and go into, the redwoods in Rotorua, some of the best mountain bike in the world, or go up into some mountains and not having to worry about spiders or bears chewing you apart or snakes or anything. You can just literally go into the bush and have no absolute problems. You can pitch up a tent and, she'll be right kind of attitude. And I think that's what all the New Zealanders take to the start line is, we just love the sport and we just love to be aggressive. And, I guess we love the saying, she'll be right. Like, we might be a minute back, but she'll be right. We'll get it back, So it's, I think it's just in the Kiwi blood that we just love to push ourselves and just keep on going. And we just love it to push each other as a team. So I think that's why we do so well.
It was after the U23 and junior mixed relay in Lausanne that we spoke, wasn't it? And you went off at 100 miles an hour with your little recap of the race there. And
oh mate, they loved it. I still get
is that a combination of sort of the adrenaline still from the race and just like but also, presumably you quite like to kind of pick through the race that's just happened, right? And kind of analyze it in that sort of way.
Oh, 100%. I think, we just love, I just love to analyze the race. Won. Oh, 100. Yeah, I love to analyze the race if I've lost as well, But it's good to get some banter from the crew as well, just saying, I think every time I rock up to a race now in New Zealand, it's like, oh no, don't give Hayden the mic, could be here for about 40 minutes. So it's good to kind of get some banter from the crew there. And oh no, they love it, eh? Well, I hope they love it. But I think they just like cracking up at me, just because I like to rant on a bit. But you got to go global somehow, and if it's that, it's got to be some sort of like new TikTok video or some reel that's I'm just going absolutely off my case, eh?
And it was a similar story in Tokyo at the test event, and it was a great performance there. Is that and presumably that was a bike course that it may not have had the hills and stuff, but the way the transition was set up and so on, like it was still a Hayden friendly bike, right?
Oh, 100%. Like it's it's a pretty deep. You wouldn't expect the headwind at all, but it's a it's a real strong headwind, so you're going to be really efficient but strong with your power going into that. And then there's so many corners, switchbacks. It's for me, it was a perfect course. I was gaining a lot of time just on the corners. If you can corner well, you can gain so much time on that course, and I just loved that. Going through that kind of real narrow switchback area on the front, and I think a lot of time it was myself and Gustav just really kind of driving that force through that technical area. And I think there was like two, three switchbacks, and it was just a great course. As you said, not hilly, but quite technical. To be fair, like if you hit that course hard, you could definitely put some time into the front group, and that's what we did. I think I remember we caught the front group so fast. I don't think we've ever caught the front group that fast, being a minute 20 behind, but we were just working so well as a unit, and we were just really just picking that course apart. And I think having strength guys like Christian on the front of the headwinds, and Gustav and myself and a couple others on the front, Leah Bouget, those guys going through the technical areas. We really kind of picked the field apart and really got through that course real quick. So if Tokyo goes ahead, really looking forward to that bike course again. Just love the technicality of it. And it can, I remember we were dropping a lot of people in our group as well, just because, you're stopping going and you get that yo-yo effect and everyone's splitting apart and you got to get back on the group. And it was intense. It was an intense race, and especially with that humidity and heat too. So
how did that have the sort of effect on you that all the testing and the preparation and stuff that you'd planned for? Did it really drain you?
Yeah, I think I didn't do too much testing. I just did a lot of a lot of heat work. We came to Tokyo a couple of weeks earlier, and right. I think we spent most of our time in Spain as well. So we were quite acclimatized to the heat, but not Tokyo heat. Like it was humid. I think that's what, and I guess Spain and a couple other events we go to is quite a hot heat, not humid heat, and very kind of like the Middle East race that we have on the F1 course. It's very humid, and I think a lot of people weren't expecting how hot the water was too. It was pretty much borderline on cutting the course because it was so hot. So I remember jumping in, it felt like I was in a spa. Like it was ridiculous. And you've got to find that fine line of the red line as well, because if you push yourself too hard in that heat, you just got to blow yourself up. So I think I played that. I think I played that bike course quite well. Resting where I could have rested around the corners, and not using a lot of my energy, but also on the swim. Like I guess there was no kind of hiding in the swim. Like it was you were going to get hot no matter what. You're in around 30 degree heat, and out of the water. So that was going to be tough. And then the run, you just got to kind of take water when you can get it. Like I just took water from every aid station and just try to keep my inside real cold. And that was kind of the key, is to keep your core real kind of cool, because we were probably peaking close to, I think we took some of those heat temperature tablets where you swallow them, and then you put the heat temperature thing beside your stomach to see what your core temperature got up to. And I think I got up to nearly 39, to nearly 39, 40. It was getting pretty high. So it was actually pretty awesome to see in what parts of the course that was kind of getting hot and cold. So it was pretty awesome to see the science. I don't do a lot of sort of scientific stuff as well, so it was pretty cool to see some of the science and what my body was kind of capable of, and that sort of kind of intense heat, I guess.
I did particularly enjoy the iced headband going on at the end there. I thought, if you need a little pick me up at the end of the run, kilometre out or something, pop that on. That's going to help.
Oh yeah, so I was putting like a headband on every lap, and it was just chilling in the chiller. It was quite nice, and chuck it on. It would only last good. It would probably only be good for a couple of minutes, but it was something. And then I think when we got into that final sprint for that last kind of part, I was I felt mean, and then all of a sudden you just hit a wall, and I was like, oh, yep, there it is. There's that red line, and you've just well past it.
Yeah. Well, Tyler Mislachuk and Casper Storn is obviously two good men to be elbow to elbow with at that stage of the race 100%. As well.
I know Tyler's got a mean kick, so it's either you have to drop him now or you'll probably get pipped. So that was my tactic, was like, if he's still here in the next 300 meters, I'm probably going to be fighting for second, but you never leave anything to chance. These boys could be hurting as well. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, so if you could put together your like ultimate triathlete, like whose swim, whose bike, and whose run would you take? Pick one athlete swim.
Yeah, so I'd probably take Henry's, because he's got, his family, his background is very swim dominant, and he's led so many races out of the water. But if he hasn't led races out of the water, he's either on second or third, and plays it very well. He's a very strong swimmer. Can't argue that at all. If I had to go biking, if I wasn't choosing myself, I would probably choose either Gustav, because I do a lot of, I'm pretty sure every time we've been in the same chasing bike group, he's always there going hard, or Leo Bourget, one of those two, just because they're strong, but they're also very technically strong as well. You can be a very strong, dominant, powerful athlete, but you need to be nimble as well, and those two boys really do it well. And then the run, would probably have to be out of probably Mario or Alex. The amount of times I've raced those two boys,
Alex, right?
Either if it's on either on ITU circuit, on the Super League circuit, they're both very exceptional runners. Alex has been to Diamond Leagues as well, and Muller's runs the fastest 5K and some of the fastest 5Ks and 10Ks, and pretty much in the World Series history, really. So one of those two boys for sure. So it'd be hard to kind of choose out of those ones.
Right. Yeah. And temperament, like in terms of that kind of attitude that you need when you've still got a couple of K left on an Olympic distance. Who do you think like is mentally toughest out there?
Oh, mentally toughest. You'd have to go Christian. That guy just loves to bury himself.
Yeah, true.
I've been in so many races and I've seen him hurt so bad. I think I've never seen anyone hurt as much as he's hurt himself, but he gets the job done, man. He's an absolute beast.
Yeah. His actually, he and Ali Brownlee both, like in Arzacheno, I don't know if you saw back any of that race, but the gap that they made up on the first lap of the bike going up the hill.
Yeah.
Big climb in Arzacheno.
It was huge. I was watching, I was like, oh yeah, he's quite far back off, but he should get back on, and then all of a sudden, he's there. I'm like, what?
Leading on the way back down.
Yeah, couldn't believe it.
Looking back at the time to see what happened. Yeah. Well, Hayden, it's been great to speak to you. Thanks very much. Taking the time out and ahead of the race tomorrow. What time are you racing?
Not until 7:30 tomorrow. So 7:30 tomorrow night. So we've still got another good nearly 20 hours until my race. So
yeah, a late race. Is that like? I can imagine like having to wait through a day for the race. Do you prefer a morning race, or does it not really matter too much?
Yeah, I guess when I used to race multi-sport, so it's kayaking, biking, and running, we used to, start at 6 o'clock in the morning, and you'd be done by 1 o'clock, and all is good. And then I went to ITU racing, and it was like, this leisurely 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock start. I was like, this is great. And then the last couple of races have been about 7 to 9 p.m. It's more kind of New Zealand's quite a windy country, I guess. So we get a lot of wind, but it dies down later in the evening. So most running races are, especially track races, are held at night because the wind is a bit more forgiving, and we can run a little bit faster. So I'll just be chilling and trying not to paint my toenails and just chill out, I guess.
Excellent. Great. Well, yeah, have a good one. And obviously keeping a firm eye on that calendar and what the next sort of few months hold, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, hoping to be back on the race circuit for sure this year. Yeah, I'll be doing everything in my power I can to get over for sure.
All right. Well, take care and good luck, man. Thanks a lot.
Oh, you too, man. See you later.
Great to have Hayden Wilde on, and next week we'll be joined by Australia's Jake Birtwistle, and you can now watch the interviews as well in full over on triathlonlive.tv. Thanks for listening.